Hey guys, Adam here, Cars Geo 72 at the KCE, the Car Center of Excellence. Haven't made many videos in recent months about my Golf Sportwagen or even my W8 Passat wagon, but I have done quite a few things to this car over the last maybe year that haven't been captured in any of the videos on my channel. And they've been, on my Facebook group stuff that I post and in my Golf Mark 7 forum build thread, which I'll link in the description, but thought I'd just make a video and go through. We got Izzy here at the KCE today helping me out. And something I never say, I'm not a YouTuber. I just some old dude that makes some videos about his car to try to help people. But, look, like and subscribe, like my videos, subscribe to my channel, look around the channel. I've probably got a video that touches everything I've ever done to this car. I'm a science guy, so there's a lot of data in some of it, which, it's kind of a no bullshit. If I do this stuff and test it, you get the data and you can actually see what these mods do versus the bro science that you usually see online. So I'm going to just walk through, try to keep it somewhat short, a lot of the little mods I've done over the last year. All right, so first thing here is these dynamic turn signals. These are the Amazon cheapies for about $35. They're the smoked ones, so they're dark colored when the lights aren't flashing like they are right now, and I thought that looked kind of cool with the black mirror caps, which are also eBay specials that I got, or Amazon specials. Word of the wise, when you install these, watch a video on YouTube about how to do your mirror. It's really easy to break this stuff. Basically, the answer is you push this in, this comes out, and you literally just put your hand behind it and pop the mirror out. It's got a wire because it's heated. Unplug it or just dangle it, and there'll be the screws and the latches you need to get the cap off and unscrew everything to remove it. So that's it. That's mod number 1. All right. For Ricer mod number 2, I went ahead and got one of the Maxton rear spoiler lip extensions. My 13-year-old was telling me how he thought it would look cool, so I appeased him and did it. I'm not much into the cosmetic stuff, but this actually looks pretty cool on my car since it's white and black. I mean, look, it's just stuck on with double stick tape, but the Maxton stuff is good quality. I got it from Black Forest Industries. I think they're one of the only ones that makes it. There may be an eBay knockoff one as well, but that's really the only options for the rear ends of these cars. And I've seen some that I think look kind of silly that are, really big and stick up or hang way off. I think this is kind of subtle, and I'm probably getting, some fraction of a percentage to some more downforce when I'm on the track, so that's All right, next little minor mod here is these Jackpoint, or the Jackpoint kit. It's an Audi, so it's actually a Volkswagen Audi OEM part. Instead of only having pinch welds to jack your car now, you can use these other points that sit further in. It allows a little more option with jack stands and jacking the car. I got them off EACCA over in Latvia. It's about 80 bucks. Again, everything's going to be linked in the description. The easiest thing for me is to just link my build thread. You go there, start at the oldest or the newest, which would be the last page, and work backwards, and that's the easiest way to find all these mods. There's another one here. So that's the front and the rear. Easy install, pretty helpful with jacking up your car. Okay, so here's my Unitronic carbon fiber intake. I picked it up used. Before this, I had the New Speed P-Flow intake, which is just a metal pipe and a filter with a little bit of a heat shield. I think this is a far better design. This has to help you with your air temperatures, at least into the turbo. It's got a nice duct on the front that has air intakes on both sides, or inlets that channels air to the filter. It's a dry flow filter instead of a oiled filter. It's a really nice design overall. Fits really well. I picked it up used. I will say, though, this is a pretty quiet intake, so going from a fully open intake to this definitely muted some of that diverter valve noise and your overall whooshing that you get with the turbo. So, if you really want something loud, this isn't it, but I think this is probably the nicest design out there. Next up is a few minor suspension mods I've done over maybe the last 6 months. I've done a bunch of suspension stuff to this car, and you can just watch some of the other videos on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe, and that will walk you through all those other modifications. But here I did some rear trailing arm bushings from Super Pro based on my research. those had the biggest bang for your buck and were the easiest to install. I actually had a shop install them, but let me see if I can't see them here and show you. So that's your trailing arm, and you can actually see it right there. There's a blue polyurethane bushing. So apparently these kind of help with overall suspension movement in the rear, and I went ahead and installed them because race car. All right, next up, you can see my rear sway bar, rear coil spring right there. I went ahead and installed some adjustable 034 rear sway bar end links before I had the Moog non-adjustables, and I just went ahead and wanted the adjustables. It gives you a little bit of ability to fine-tune preload on the rear sway bar or angle. I got them used on, or I got them kind of Facebook Marketplace new, but somebody was getting rid of them and they weren't all that much money, so I grabbed them. All right, next and final small suspension mod was a set of spring rubbers, which, see if I can't show you them with my little flashlight. There you go. See that black thing up in there between the coils? It's called a spring rubber. Basically, when I had front suspension work to this done last year, I noted that my front suspension was about a 1/4 inch lower than it was before those mods, and I'm not sure what happened. That was lower control arms and Super Pro lower control arms that give you camber caster, and Eurosport, their street camber kit for the top of the strut mounts. It's possible that between those two, that somehow alters the geometry enough to lower the suspension a bit. Maybe the springs settled, which I'm not convinced of because H&R will tell you those springs aren't supposed to settle. But either way, I lost a 1/4 inch, and that's a little too low for me. And I was banging over some bumps I hit regularly driving around town, and so did a little bit of homework and realized for $13 at Advance Auto, you can buy one of these spring rubbers, chuck it in there. I got the 1/4 inch back, no more bottoming out or banging harshly, which was a great little mod. They make nicer ones than this that are more expensive that kind of wind within the coils, but for just messing around, 13 bucks, they have never popped out. They're in there tight. It's effectively like adding a little bit of preload to the front springs. All right, so let's get started. Pro Clip phone mount. This is a real popular one. My S21 is too big to sit in here like my old Galaxy phones would. And so this seemed to be a popular choice. It kind of just is held in with pressure between some different trim pieces. Works great. Slide the phone in, no problem. And you can charge it. You know, the bottom is open, so you can just run it over to the charger. So definitely happy with that setup. Next is I went ahead and lined my glove box with felt from Joann Fabric, just peel and stick felt. I just basically just took a couple hours and really trimmed everything nice, and it keeps stuff from bouncing around in there on the hard plastic. You can actually buy a felt lined glove box that was on earlier Mark 7s that they decontented for the facelift stuff. It's more expensive. This works. It's fine. I also did the same thing. I'm not sure if you can really see it. Got my flashlight. Yeah, kind of crappy, but either way, there is felt in here as well because I keep my wallet there, and it's a metal wallet. It's a Ridge wallet, and it bounces around. Back over to the other glove box that I just forgot. The vent. So it has an air conditioning vent now. That was an OE part on the early Mark 7 that they decontented. I added it. It's a giant pain in the ass and totally not worth it, but I can keep a cold crispy boy, a Coors Light in there now, and it'll stay ice cold in the summer. Wireless Android Auto dongle down in here. I use the one that's called AA Wireless. There's only a few Android options. There's a whole bunch of options for Apple CarPlay, but this thing's great. I put the phone in, turn on the car, start driving, and I get Android Auto within maybe 10 or 15 seconds. It's not really laggy or glitchy. It's a really great thing to have, and it's kind of a no-brainer for the cost of it. I have it unplugged right now because it'll keep trying to hook to my phone, but I just have this little dongle, basically double stick taped right there. Let's see, I did a Leo DSG shift knob. So between this and the Black Forest Industries, I just thought this looked nicer. It's a nicer design. It uses, this is how you shift. I can't do it because the key's not on, but you pull this up to unlock it. It looks good. It feels good. And I did the Leo, the little rings that go on my HVAC knobs. Again, just kind of one of those little things that looks cool. It doesn't cost a lot of money. The shift knob's great. A lot of people think it's a stick when they see it, but it's of course not. It's a DSG. There's a lot of people that I don't quite understand why they get so online. They'll lose their mind that you would spend money on anything with an automatic, but I don't know. I think it looks cool. I mess around with it and rest my hand on it a lot, so whatever. I like it. All right, next mod is this overhead console. So I replaced the factory one with the previous version from Mark 7, not facelift, and the reason is it's backlit. So the buttons are backlit on this one versus the new ones, which I think is pretty useful at night. I can't tell you how many times I reached up to touch a button to turn on my map light and I hit the wrong one. So you get backlit buttons, and you also get LEDs versus the incandescent bulbs in the one that came with my car. So it's a factory piece I got from AliExpress. Works great. Installs pretty straightforward. I will say that the color temperature of these is probably a bit warmer than most LEDs you buy aftermarket, because I had aftermarket LED bulbs in my factory overhead console. These are probably like, what are they, like the 4000K, kind of warmer than the typical 5000K. So they don't exactly match the aftermarket LEDs in my back, but nobody's ever going to notice. All right, next mod's kind of a race car mod. From going to the track, I added a element fire extinguisher and bracketeer bracket. So this thing's kind of cool. Reach down, grab it. It's a kind of works like a road flare. The bottom of it here, I won't be able to do it with my hands while I'm filming, but you pop this off, you pop this off. You use the bottom as a striker against the top. It's supposed to work for, they last about a minute. It's supposed to work pretty well. You don't, it works differently than a chemical fire extinguisher that sprays a powder. Either way, look, if your car's on fire, you're getting the fuck out of your car. But I always figured on track, if I had an opportunity to open my hood or safely try to put out a fire and save my car, why not? It's easy to get to, right under the rear seat. Really like it. All right, here's kind of a fun one. This is by Skoda. You can find them on Amazon or eBay. It's a rubbish bin, as they call it, but it's just it just has little disposable plastic bags. It clips onto your door. I keep mine all the way back like this, and you can put your, gummy bear bag trash or whatever it is in there. Kind of a cool little thing. Next up and finally is, I added this over a year ago, but I've never made a video about it. That's a BMS pedal tuner. You can see I basically just ran the cable up from the pedal underneath the dash, drilled a little hole, and put it through here with some double stick in my little felt-lined cubby. I love this thing. If you have an automatic, so if you have a DSG and you want to improve the drivability beyond a DSG tune, this is it. It increases the pedal sensitivity, effectively making you have to push the pedal less for a given output of the pedal. So instead of having to really push the pedal deep to get that downshift in drive mode up, maybe going up a slight incline, you barely have to push it. Takes a little getting used to. I've got mine on the full send setting. That's just how I like it. I want it to be as sensitive as I can. I really like this mod. I think a stage 1 tune in this ECU tune with this and a DSG is a pretty cool way to go. I don't think people realize how fundamentally this changes your driving experience. It's not adding any power, of course. It's just making the drivability better. Really like it. Glad I bought it. All right, here's a cool one. It's another AliExpress special. It's the rear console, but it has USB ports. I did one. You can choose. I got the one with a C and an A. I don't think the C works like most Cs that have a high output. It's kind of like charges pretty slow. But either way, some people have the cables like this. Just a simple add-on that gave me some functionality. I don't carry people around in this car very much anymore. But either way, just more USBs better. It's a total pain in the ass to install. I'm not going to go deep into it. There's videos on how to do it. The bottom line is I basically did this without taking out the console like you'll see online. I took the cigarette or the 12-volt. I was able to actually get the 12-volt plug out from underneath by just getting my hand under there beside the front seat, popping it out from underneath and then installing it through that hole, running it alongside the power to this. Like I said, there's a lot of info out there on the forums and things about it, but it's a pain in the butt, kind of like the air conditioning vent in the glove box, but it's a worthwhile mod. All right, last thing here. Last minor kind of silly mod was this really sweet cargo organizer I got on Amazon. This thing's actually killer. I carry all my gear in it, like my day-to-day stuff. It's actually held in with, you probably can't see it that good, but there's some little straps and some little miniature bungee cords. It's got rubber on the bottom. It doesn't move around even when you're pushing hard, like through turns and things. I keep everything in it. You unstrap it and take it out. I just really think this is a pretty nice little thing to have in your car for daily use. So that's it. That's all my little mods I've done over the last 6 to 12 months. The description has a link to a thread in a forum that'll show you all the details, because everybody wants to know part number, where'd you get it, links. Just go to the thread, start at the newest, so that would be the last page, and work backwards. And I think I've got everything in there at some level. All right, talk soon. Bye.